there are classically two schools of theology. One is the Ash'aris, the other is Mu'tazili, and the Ash'aris are called the determinists. So they would say when the Quran says God is sitting on a throne, okay, well, it means a throne. The Mu'tazili they're rationalists, so they try to look for a rational explanation for everything. But even though you see this in almost all the books, particularly from Shafi'is, I think we may go a little more. But the Hanafis actually follow a school of theology which is a mixture of these two. There was a fellow named Maturidi from an area almost in current-day Afghanistan, who came up with a mixture of the two systems, which is some determinist and some rational, and that is what most of the Hanafis follow. The five supports in Shias now, because we have gone through the Sunni stuff: Touheed, the unity of God; Nabowat, the prophethood; Ma'ad, resurrection of the body and soul. The Sunnis don't really go into the detail. We say, yeah, there is a resurrection. We don't know how it works. In the Shia, it is both. Imama, the institution of imams, which the Sunnis don't have, and Adl, justice, which is a Mu'tazili concept, which says everything is rational and everything must be just. Okay, some doctrines from Isna Ashariya, and we have to go through this kind of quickly. One is called Bada, which is that God changes his mind. The other one is cycle of sanctity, a series of saints starting with Ali. It's a chain and it continues to this day. So those who can prove their chain going back to Ali, they are all sanctified. They do not believe that Quran is uncreated. That's a big controversy we can talk about some other time, because people were imprisoned for not believing in that by Ma'mun al-Rashid, who's the most scholarly of the caliphs. They do not believe in the beatific vision, which all Sunnis believe that you will see God on the Day of Judgment. And they believe in taqiyya. So when the propagandists say, well, Muslims believe in hiding stuff. Okay? Not true. Only the Ithna Ashariya have the concept of taqiyya that says you don't have to tell people what you really believe if your life is in danger. So even that is not just for deception, but it is for protecting yourself. Okay? So this concept of taqiyya you will see on the internet a lot, because people make things up, because people can, on the internet, can say whatever they want because no one knows who said it. Okay, some practices, it's kind of longer than I thought. Mut'ah, they believe in temporary marriages, the others don't. So, many Iranian students, they would come and they would, quote, have a mut'ah, no legal marriage, but, their girlfriend, was their marriage, so they could do what they needed to do without actually marrying her. It's temporary. Prayer led by an unworthy leader are invalid. Among the Sunnis, they say even a sinful person can lead, but don't make it general. If you need an imam, someone knows he's a sinful person, they can lead it once, but don't do it again. But the Ithna Ashariya will say it's invalid. wiping over the covering of the feet for wudu is not valid. Only roofless buses can be used in the Hajj. And this is a very interesting sight when you go for Hajj, because everybody else is riding in air-conditioned buses, but they have to ride only in roofless buses because that's their requirement. They add an additional Allahu Akbar in the funeral prayers. The beginning of the Safi period added the phrase Ali Waliullah. Remember when I told you that they say Ali is the friend of God, added to the thing, it was added during the Safawi. So that's the 16th century. Okay? How many centuries after the Prophet and the Ali that is? Yeah, it started from the 7th, and this is the 16th. So it's, 9, 10 centuries later, they add that phrase. Routinely combine the 2 afternoon prayers. Routinely. So some Shias think it's not 5 prayers because they have seen it combined routinely. You will also see, you can go to Shia functions, and the Maghrib prayer will come, the evening prayer will come, and they don't stop, they continue the function, because they can also combine that with the night prayer, routinely. What else? That's kind of long, so you can read it. There are 2 groups. One are called akhbari, so they base it on the reports, and the others use their own judgment. So I'm going to skip it quickly, okay? All right? The process of jurisprudence, the Usuli school and the other one, and they have these different concepts. But there is a concept here, and that is that every Shia must follow a Marja, the person that you turn to for making decisions and who you obey. And these people are given khums, which is 1/5 of your income. And the khums goes to the Marja, at Taqlīd, the one that you turn to for obeying. Because of the requirement of Marja, the number of such authorities proliferated. Right? Initially you could have just a few. The more people you have, the more Marja you end up having. And the more Marja you end up having, the titles end up getting inflated. So you went from the Marja, Mujtahid, Hujjatul Islam, and then you end up with Ayatollah, and then you end up with Grand Ayatollah, Ayatollah al-Uzma. These are all recent things because the things proliferate. And theologians have actually reinterpreted past history to say these things were always valid. Okay? These titles were always valid.